All right, all right. Here we go. This week on Gymwright Live, we interview featured gym owner John Kelly of Live Free CrossFit to learn about his incredible journey in buying out his business partner and turning the gym around from struggle mode to massive growth and forward motion in just a few months. For all of you listening to this via podcast, be sure to check out the video version of this interview at gymwright.com. And if you'd like to watch the show live, we record every Friday in the network, which is our free private Facebook group for the motivated gym owners of the world to share their best tactics and strategies to grow their businesses. Join the network today and get in on that conversation. Also, if you find any of the information useful in today's episode and you're interested in learning how we might be able to help you break through in your business, sign up for a free strategy session with me at gymwright.com/strategy, and we'll identify where you're at, where the biggest opportunity is in your business, and the best path forward in taking your gym to the next level. All right, let's do this thing. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Gymwright Live. I am your host, Marcus Gurzy, and this week we welcome to the show special guest and featured gym owner for the month, Mr. John Kelly of Live Free CrossFit. John, absolute pleasure to have you on today, my man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Marcus. It's nice to be here. I enjoy watching these shows, so it's really cool to be on this side.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I've been looking forward to having you on for a while. Now, we are going to be talking about your journey in really your journey overall, and you've been in this game for a really long time. But really, I want to talk about how you went from, you were working with your business partner, you guys had a bunch of things in motion, but it wasn't quite, I think, going the way that you wanted it to go or getting to its full potential. And then you ended up taking it over just late last year, or last year. And we had the chance to work together, and I think you had a ton of big breakthroughs. You've made a tremendous amount of progress in a very short amount of time. So I'm excited to share that story. But before we get to that stuff, tell me a little bit about your journey in this industry and just how you even got to owning Live Free.
Okay. I started training when I was a kid. When I was about 12 years old, I had a lot of low self-esteem. I was getting picked on a lot, and no matter what clothes I was wearing, I felt fat and I felt weak. So I decided to start working out, started, lifting weights in the garage and continued lifting weights up until high school. But in high school, I got in some trouble and I got kicked out. And I felt like I really lost a lot of opportunities and wasted a lot of athleticism. So in the year 2000, FIU got a football team, and I decided to walk on there. And I knew it was a long shot because I never played in high school, but I figured if I worked hard enough and I was a good enough athlete, they'd find a place for me. So I started working my butt off, went and tried out, made the team, and that was like the moment that I knew that hard work and determination could help you do anything in this life. And from there, I began to move forward with that attitude. And I got my degree in exercise physiology. I was a personal trainer, and I was enjoying personal training, but I didn't enjoy the instability of it. I had just had my first daughter, and I would have a great month and I would have a bad month. I would have a great month and I would have a bad month. So a friend of mine told me, hey, why don't you try out to be a firefighter? And I was like, I never even thought about that. I didn't know exactly what firefighting was, but when I found out you work 9 days a month, I was like, this is the job for me.
This sounds perfect.
Sounds perfect. Plus, I could do all the other stuff I like to do. And at that time, when I was transitioning into becoming a firefighter, I had gotten tired of the bench press, the squat, the same old, the bodybuilding, because I grew up on the bodybuilding, the Flex magazines. Yeah, and buddy. CrossFit really wasn't popular then. So I started doing MMA. And I kind of fell in love with the competitive aspect of MMA. I've always been a competitor. And once I started doing MMA, I became a firefighter, and I was doing them both. I would train 2 times a day, striking in the morning, jiu-jitsu at night. And then I would get off, do 24 hours in the firehouse, and I would just wash, rinse, repeat. I would have fights come up. I remember I would fight, and I would go into work like 2 days later. Or I would come off shift, and 2 days later I would have a fight. And I thought, with that attitude that I could do anything, that this was going to be the way that I was going to be successful as a fighter, and I would have my pension, take care of my family. But doing both things for 3 years, I started to deteriorate and my performances started to deteriorate. And I was 4-0 in the beginning and I finished 1-5 in my last 5 fights. So I knew that I needed to make a change, but I just didn't know what was wrong with me. And then I remember walking into the gym one day and I couldn't be there. I had to leave. I had to leave the gym. I had anxiety, like high levels of anxiety. So I took a break from MMA for a little bit, and then I found CrossFit because my wife, she was miserable at the time. We were going through our, marriage stuff, and I told her, you got to quit your job and you got to start working out. If you quit your job and you start working out, I promise you, you'll be happier. So she did that. She quit. She joined the CrossFit down the street, and she began to change. Her body began to change. Her attitude began to change. And I was thinking, man, I can't fight right now. I'm injured. I don't want to be in the gym, but maybe CrossFit will be cool. And I had a friend that was always telling me, dude, you got to try CrossFit. Dude, you got to try CrossFit. So I finally tried it, and I loved it. I love the community. I love the workouts. I love the competition. I love that you could infinitely get better because there's so many skills to work on. And at the time, I was always a person who was a leader, and I was always trying to help people. And no matter who they were in the gym, I would see the coach just ignore people because they weren't the greatest athletes. And I would gravitate towards those people, and I'd be like, hey, try this, or hey, try that. Pretty soon the coaches saw that, and they offered me an internship. So I took the internship, and I dove into CrossFit like I dove into MMA, and I just began to go hard, and take pre-workout and all that stuff. And eventually I ran out of gas. And I realized that it wasn't just the training. It was a combination of the training, the stress of my job, and trying to balance a family. All those things together were just overwhelming me. I couldn't get any sleep. So I decided to quit the fire department. And I knew that it was either training and CrossFit or the fire department. And you had fire department over here, which was the pension, the set paycheck every week. And then you had the danger of going out on your own and putting all of your money and energy on yourself. And I had to figure out what way I wanted to take. And I knew that I had a certain level in the fire department that I would cap out at. And I knew that if I bet on myself, then my potential was limitless. So I decided to take all the money that I had saved up in the fire department. I had a couple people who believed in me at the previous gym, and we decided to open our own gym.
Awesome. And that was about when? That was 2013, I think?
2013.
Awesome. Now, you opened it with a friend of yours, is that right?
Yeah, it was 3 of us, actually.
Okay. So you guys all started this thing together, and what was that evolution like in getting that gym going and really getting to where the transition happened, right? Where that moment was when you knew that things had to change yet again.
Sure. I initially was in it with a guy who was very business savvy, and then another guy who was kind of like a up and coming personal trainer, expert on nutrition. And he introduced me to this gentleman, and this gentleman didn't know anything about CrossFit. I had been doing CrossFit for like 2 years, and he didn't know anything about CrossFit, but he was supposed to be our boot camp guy. So I was cool with that because I, at the time, was just ready to get into it, be the head coach, work all the hours, just go all out. And that's how we started. We had the business guy who took care of all the permits and everything like that. And I was the guy who ran the show, 6 a.m., 8 p.m. leaving at night,
wow.
Doing every little thing. And then the other guy was supposed to help out, but he was kind of like a personal trainer, and he never really got certified or anything. So I never felt comfortable with him teaching people. He didn't live the life. So you can't teach people if you don't live the life. So there was a little bit of disagreement on how things should be run. Eventually, the business savvy guy wanted to get out because him and his wife were getting divorced, and he wanted to move on. So the personal trainer guy ended up buying him out. And he had a large percentage of the gym, more than me now. And we got along great in the beginning. We were working really well together, but he took his eye off, and I got to take responsibility too, because I took my eye off the prize. I was relying on him to do the back door stuff. He was relying on me to do the front door stuff, and there was no cohesion and no system of doing things. I was always the face of the gym. I was always good at coaching and good at managing people and helping people. And he was good at social media and Wodify and stuff like that. But eventually he wanted to do his own thing, write his own books. And he began to solicit the members on our email list. And he began to put his face all over the gym about his new book. And the people didn't like that. They didn't want to be solicited to. They wanted to be the number one thing, not him and his stuff be the number one thing. And me and him kind of got into it, and I was ready to leave the gym. I was ready to take, and luckily for me, I got Live Free CrossFit under my name because that was my baby. That was my dream, and the name Live Free comes from the way I view the world. And he wanted to just usurp me and take it. And luckily I had that license. So I told him, if you want to take this from me, you're going to have to really pay a lot of money for this brand because I built this brand. And eventually he was like, well, will you buy me out? And I found a way to buy him out, and I got rid of him. And I think it was the best thing for both of us because I think he's doing a lot better now, not being held down by something he doesn't really care about. And now I'm able to really put the heart and vision that I have for the gym into it and go 100%, towards where I want to be.
Love it, man. Yeah. And so when did that happen? When was that transition?
That was in August of last year.
So August of last year, and you and I chatted. I think we started getting our conversation going. It was like September or so. Was it?
Well, I remember we were. I looked into your program probably a year prior, and I liked a lot of the stuff that we were doing. It wasn't as in depth as me and you worked together at the time, and my partner wanted to go another way with another business coach, and it was more related to selling, and that has its value, no doubt about it, but it wasn't built around CrossFit. It wasn't built around gyms. So it didn't translate as well as something that, as well as the stuff that we do, because you've done it, you know what it takes, you've built it already, so you can tell us how to do it. So once he was out the picture, I was like, all right, I'm going back with Marcus, because I always followed the Gymwright stuff because it's good stuff. You give a lot of good value even when you're not, working with somebody one-on-one. So I was like, I want to dive in, and I thought that it was going to be more expensive. It was such a good deal to me. I got so much value out of what you taught me that it was like the best decision that I've made in my 5 years as owner of Live Free CrossFit, because it gave me everything that I did sporadically. It gave me a way to put it all together and build upon one step after another to make those raving fans, to make the people in your community love what you're doing and want to help you, and you want to help them. So I think it was a great move for me.
Awesome, man. Wow. Well, thank you very much for the kind words, man. It means a lot to hear that from you. This is why we do what we do, right? We want to get people who are passionate about their business and about their community and making an impact and helping align that passion with the business systems that match it, right? And I think that was really just the missing piece for you, because you had more than enough experience in the game and understanding what the different elements are and maybe the things that you should be addressing. And we got to pull it all together for you. So Live Free, what is it about you guys that you feel makes you guys so unique now? Like, what is it that you feel like you've tapped into? Because I know this is part of what we worked on too. What makes your gym special?
Well, initially when we started, I never thought that we could be the best gym in Miami. I just thought that we could be some little gym in this area where people could go to and get a good workout and meet people and have a good time. But then as me and you began to work together, it dawned on me that the strength of our gym is not its size. It's a medium-sized gym. It's not its elite athletes. We have some good athletes, but we don't have anybody who's, trying to go to the games. It was on the community. And I remember when I first started CrossFit, I went to the Business of Excellence seminar with Ben Bergeron, and he basically went over the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it was all about community. And no matter what you're doing in training and in creating value for your members, you have to include your community. So I knew if we were the best community in Miami, we could be the best gym in Miami. And when you started to help me build the system around the community is where I really saw a path to being the best gym in Miami. And that was able to reinvigorate my passion for helping others, because I realized that the stuff that I believed in from the beginning was the way to take my gym to the next level. So I knew that I had to find something different than the gyms in the local area, because we had great gyms all around us, but none of them had that community that we had at the time, and is even better now because I figured out that that was our niche.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. You realize that it's about what you can do for your people and caring for your people and making people feel seen, and that is priceless. I think so many people get stuck on trying to differentiate on features and benefits, and whether they're talking about the facility or it's the location or it's how many classes they offer. And sure, those things do matter to an extent. But what makes you priceless and decommoditizes you completely is a personal connection. And we identified early on that you, much like a lot of people in this business, are hyper caring or hyper focused on connecting with the person and actually helping someone make progress. It's not just, hey, I'm just trying to sell gym memberships and be done with it. Like, I got into this business because I like what I do, and I like helping people, and I like making an impact in my market and getting to be the best part of people's day. And all we had to do is match the systems to that. And and that was the differentiation for you, because we looked at your content strategy. We looked at your sales and onboarding and integration and retention and connection strategies and all the things that happen, and simply just connected them with you. And it allowed you to see all of a sudden that, wow, I can build this business to any potential. There's no limit anymore. And this is the one thing that no one can touch is you, John, is your caring, your connection, your ability to dig in with someone and actually help them move forward towards their goals. That's what this is all about. So congratulations to you on that. And I mean, just what you've done in a few months has been incredible. Before you started the program, what would you say was your biggest challenge?
I'd say the biggest challenge that we had before starting the program was consistently bringing the same value to everybody. Because somebody, for some reason or whatever, I would give them something when they joined the gym because I just felt the connection to them. And other people, they would be like, oh, I've already done CrossFit, I'm ready to sign up. And there wouldn't be like the same consistent approach to every intro, the same consistent approach to every email, the same consistent approach to every person who walks in the gym. And because of that, you weren't getting consistent results. Mm-hmm. So when we started working together, the systems that you helped me put in based around my strengths allowed me to give consistent value to not only new people, but also the members that we have. Because when you give the value to the members that you have, those are your billboards. They're walking around, they're talking about you, they're getting their friends to come and join the gym. And that's how you really create a strong community, by helping the people you already have, not necessarily focusing on all the people that you don't have. And when we got together, the system that we put into place, from the email to the intro to the one-on-one consultation to the onboarding, was able to create all these emotional, powerful experiences with the people, so that by the time it was ready to sign up, they felt like they had to sign up. They felt like this was the place, that they never got treated like this. And it made these last months so much more profitable and easier to go through. I felt like I wasn't selling people anymore. I was just giving them value and showing them what we do and what my vision was. And if they wanted to be part of it, they would sign up. And before, it used to be like, I felt like I was haggling people, and I never felt like I was haggling anybody. I felt like I was going to really change your life. And that's because of the way that we constructed the intro and everything, because by the time they got to the point where they were ready to sign up, they were already a fan. They were already a part of the community. And that was the difference maker in my mind.
And how was learning that one thing changed your work or your life?
Oh, it's great. Now I look at every time I see like an email or I see somebody who's interested, I find it a challenge to connect with them, and it makes it's not a job for me anymore. It makes it a passion, It was a passion in the beginning, and after a while, it became like I was cashing a check. Now I have this sense of urgency when I see somebody new walk in the door that I can really help that person's life. And I know exactly the system I'll set up. And going through that system allows me to see their strengths, their weaknesses, and figure out exactly what program is going to help them reach their goals.
Beautiful, man. Now, what's next for you? What are you going to do with the gym? What's on the docket?
Well, all the stuff that you taught me was so comprehensive that I'm still trying to refine it. And one thing I learned from one of your Gymwright programs, which I know for a fact that I didn't do a good job, was team meetings and evaluating and improving coaches. I just figured coaches would figure it out. But coaching, like anything else, you need a leader. It's my responsibility as the owner and the team leader to find something that will help the coaches understand what I'm looking for. And I think right now we started it last week, the Rockstar Coaching Program.
Good
with
for you.
CrossFit Palm Beach
Yep.
is something that will really help the coaches all get on the same page so that every class has that same experience, that same feeling when they leave, that they were connected with, that they got a good workout, and that they want to come back in.
Awesome. That's good for you, man. Killer program. I think we have Andrew on again next week. He's going to actually break that thing down. So keep us posted on how that's coming together for you.
Sure.
And so you've got a big year ahead of you, man. I'm excited for all the things to come. In one sentence, what would be one piece of advice you'd offer gym owners listening to this?
I would offer gym owners I'd say stick to your vision, stick to who you are, because there's always going to be something fancy coming up the road. But if you stick to who you are and you live your purpose, people are going to gravitate towards you. If people feel that you are checked out and that, you don't believe it the way you believed it before, they're not going to stick around. I just got off the phone with a woman that told me her and her husband are looking for a new gym because the gym that they used to go to, which is not far from our gym, the coaches were leaving. And because the coaches were leaving, they didn't feel like they were being taken care of. They didn't feel like they were being taught the right stuff. So that's a perfect opportunity for me to get 2 new members just by connecting with those people and making sure that they get the coaching that they want, that they get the attention that they want. And in order to be able to continue coaching at a high level, you have to continue learning. Because as soon as you stop learning, you don't have anything to give anybody new. As soon as somebody knows what you know, you're just another person to them. You have to continue learning, growing, whether it's mental, whether it's business-wise, physically. And as life goes on, things are going to change. As your gym grows, things are going to change. Getting the 100 members is different than getting the 150, and going from 150 to 200 is a totally different ballgame. So you have to continue looking for coaching. You have to continue being open to doing things differently, because there's nothing worse than thinking you got it all figured out. Once you realize that there's always something new to learn, and you apply the things that you do have figured out to the new things that you're learning as you go, your gym is going to continue growing. I always tell our nutrition members that if you read about nutrition, you're going to eat right. If you think about nutrition, you're going to eat right. But if you never pick up a book and you're listening to the political BS, if you're listening to the radio, all the crap on the radio, then your head's going to be filled with crap and you're going to eat crap, But if you got your eyes on the prize and you are looking into improving yourself in all different ways, you're going to see improvement. It's just that simple. So I would say stick to who you are and why you opened the gym, and always continue to learn and grow. Because if you just keep on growing, your gym will keep on growing with you.
No question, man. And I think it's so common for us, especially if you're a first time business owner. We start out with this big dream, this passion that allows us to dig in so hard. We do all this learning either right before or right in the very beginning. And as we get into the thick of it, we start to just stop learning and just do. And next thing you know, you realize all you're doing is doing. and showing up and just maintaining rather than progressing forward. And I think, at least in my experience, I've been at this a long time. It ebbs and flows, right? You go through this like burst of evolution, and it's kind of like, all right, now I've got to implement all the things that I've learned and actually become those new things. And then next wave. But I think a lot of times people forget to restart that wave and to continue to push forward. And that's frankly why a lot of gym owners get stuck. Even people who've been in business 5 years, 10 years. We had a gym who we worked with several months back, 10 years in the game, pretty established name. A lot of people consider them to be a very successful gym, but they were tuned out. Right? They were just like, hey, this is how we've always done it, and have just slowly been dwindling, and needed to kind of like that reset, that jolt of new energy, of learning, of forward motion, and right back to the races. Now they're growing best they've ever done. And it's just that getting back into learning mode and constant forward motion. So awesome advice, man. John,
and on top of,
go ahead.
On top of, making more money, your life is better. You feel better about your life. You're enjoying what you're doing more. Your quality
100%.
of life has improved. So as your quality of life improves, your bank account improves, your gym bank account improves, your equipment improves, and then your members' experience improve, and it just snowballs, all based on you continuing to learn and progress.
No doubt, man. John, where can people find more about you and Live Free CrossFit?
You can find us on Facebook at Live Free CrossFit, and you can find us on Instagram at Live Free CrossFit, and our website is livefreecrossfit.com.
Awesome, man. John, thank you so much for coming on today, man. It was such a pleasure chatting with you, and thank you for sharing your story with all of us today. I want to thank all of you motivated gym owners for joining us today as well. Again, if you're interested in learning how we might be able to help you break through in your business, sign up for a free strategy session with me at gymwright.com/strategy, and we'll identify where you're at, where the biggest opportunity is in your business, and the best path forward in taking your gym to the next level. Thank you again for joining us today, and I'll get out there and build something that matters. We'll see you guys all again next week. See ya. Boom.
Boom.